Hello guys, this is Gabriel and this is my review of Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 Pro, one of the most interesting devices released by Xiaomi in January. The price has now fallen to €200, so let's see what you'll get for your money. Design-wise, Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 Pro is just your average phone. The metal cover is just okay, but nothing that we can define as premium. The average build quality is good and the smartphone feels like a solid device, but is also extremely slippery when you try to use it one-handed. On the top and the bottom we have two plastic bands for antennas, and on the rear there is a main speaker and the MIUI logo. Front-facing there are the capacitive buttons, the front-facing camera and the RGB LED for notification. The screen is a 5.5-inch 1080p LCD unit with a pixel density of 401 ppi. The overall quality of the display is above the average for this price point. Colors slightly tend to blue, but you can change the color temperature through the setting menu. Angle view are just okay and the maximum brightness helps you to read it outside under direct sunlight, but don't expect it being too bright. MIUI even offers a reading mode that acts just like Apple's night shift, giving you a warmer color temperature that filters blue light in order to reduce eye strain. On the rear side of the smartphone there is a fingerprint scanner. It is possible to memorize up to 5 fingerprints and the unlock process is blazing fast. Not as fast as an iPhone 6s, but very close, and there is no need to press anything. Just place your finger over it and you're unlocked. The fingerprint scanner can also act as a shutter button in the stock camera app. Under the hood there is a Snapdragon 650, a very interesting 28nm processor. The CPU is an hexa-core with a high-performance dual-core Cortex-A72 running at 1.8 GHz and an high energy-efficient quad-core Cortex-A53 at 1.4 GHz. The interface is always buttery smooth and the phone is extremely fast in every task you throw at it. Of course, this is not a flagship and occasionally hiccups may occur, but the performance you'll get are absolutely phenomenal for this price range. Benchmarks show us that the CPU is very close to the last year high-end Snapdragon 810. Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 Pro comes in two different configurations, one with 2 GB of RAM and 16 GB of internal expandable storage, and one with 3 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. 3 GB of RAM are good enough for a better multitasking experience, but the MIUI is extremely aggressive and tends to kill background applications too often. Internet browsing is just perfect with Google Chrome, but there is even a MIUI stock browser for you. Performance are not as good as Chrome, but there are a lot of interesting features like text resize, data saver, reading mode and gestures. During intense use of this phone, temperatures are warm at most, and I noticed no overheat problem even while playing games. Gaming performance are good as well, and the new Adreno 510 at 600 MHz is perfectly capable of running a lot of very demanding games at high details with no considerable frame drops. Anyway, some games could not be very well optimized for the Snapdragon 650, but I think that will be fixed once the platform will spread between the mid-range market. Even while playing game, there are no temperature issues, and thanks to the huge battery, you can play for a lot of time. Redmi Note 3 Pro comes with Android 5.1 Lollipop with MIUI 7. Honestly, I don't like MIUI interface, especially the home screen, so after a few days I switched over Nova Launcher in order to enjoy a more coherent Android experience with an app drawer and a more dense icon grid. Even so, there are a lot of aspects that will remain MIUI stock, like the notification tray, multitasking and setting menu. There are a lot of preloaded apps by Xiaomi that can replace Google Apps, such as Note, Gallery, Music, Weather. There is even an app called Mi Remote that turns your smartphone in a TV remote, thanks to the presence of an IR blaster. But the most useful app is Security. Don't get fooled by the name, these apps allow you to check everything you should know about your phone, starting from the battery, data consumption, memory management, and permission for background application, a must in order to receive properly push notification. Redmi Note 3 Pro also lacks NFC, so forget using Android Pay. The camera is the real drawback of this device. While there is an interesting Samsung ISOCELL 16 megapixel sensor with face detection autofocus and aperture f2.0, the camera produces only decent shots. Watching them on the Note's display, they appear really good, But when you start zooming or if you export them on a PC, you will see how much these images are poor in details. Low light condition pictures are below the average, and the lack of an OIS tend to produce poor quality picture with a lot of blur effect. Even HDR is not enough to save the day and adds some delay between shots. The front-facing camera, 5-megapixel one, is good enough for random selfies, but again the software doesn't express the full potential of the sensor. Video follows the same pattern, and in this case the lack of an OIS is even more evident. Videos can be recorded up to 1080p with a stock camera app, but you can shoot even at 4K resolution with Google Camera app. In conclusion, the majority of the problems of this camera are software side, so I hope Xiaomi will improve the overall quality with a software update. On the bright side of this camera, I can mention the rich collection of filters such as Sketch, tons of different camera mode and a QR scanner built in the camera app. The main speaker of Redmi Note 3 Pro is placed in the rear side, and while the volume is high enough, audio quality is not that good. Once you insert a Pyro headphone, things change like night and day. Thanks to the MIUI sound optimization, you can fine-tune sound quality as you please. Call quality is good enough and the voice is always crystal clear. Oh, and there is even an option to record your calls. This phone even supports VoLTE technology, and both SIM cards can access the LTE network. Thanks to the Snapdragon 650, Redmi Note 3 Pro supports LTE Category 7 up to 300 megabits per second in download and 100 megabits per second in upload. Battery life is terrific. Thanks to the 4050 mAh unit, there is no way to run out of energy before the end of your average day. 5 to 6 hours of screen on are just the standard, and obviously with no energy saving option enabled, and there are a lot of them. In conclusion, Xiaomi Redmi Note 3 Pro is not a perfect smartphone, but the drawbacks are greatly forgivable at this price point. There are few smartphones that can offer you an overall complete experience like this, but keep in mind that you have to spend some time setting the MIUI in order to get the best experience. Redmi Note 3 Pro is not ready for action out of the box, but it can give you a lot of satisfaction once properly set up. This is not a phone for everyone, so consider it only if you are familiar with this kind of products or if you intentionally want to learn more about Xiaomi.